Hello, good evening, and welcome to our live podcast. You are with the Starting Over Sisters. I'm Grace. We have Dara and we have Katina. Tonight
Hello.
is a very,
Hello.
yes, tonight is a very special night. Very special night, whether you're single, dating, married, or in a long term relationship, partnership. Tonight is meant to inspire and hopefully be a blessing. We have three amazing, beautiful panelists, beautiful women that are going to share their experience with you. Okay, there we have our first introduction. Have it.
Thank you, Grace. Hi, everyone. It's so glad to see you all here tonight. Beautiful women indeed. I'm so honored to be here with y'all today. So I have the wonderful pleasure and honor to introduce uh, Minister Angela Furcron. Uh, Angela is a woman in her 50s who lives in Metro Atlanta, Georgia. She's a minister who's been speaking into the lives of women for over 20 years. She has been married and single. She believes that both are beautiful and ordained by God. She hopes to be married again someday soon. Miss Angela. All right. So I just
Welcome.
have thank you for being here, Miss Angela. I just have like a couple of questions for you. And we're just gonna jump right in it. Ready? All right. So my first question is, what have been the most valuable lessons you've learned about yourself while being single?
I think the most valuable lessons I've learned about myself being single is that I am whole and complete by myself. That I can do whatever I need to do by myself. Now, are there times that it would be nice to have somebody else with me? Absolutely, but life, I can do I can do all things. I can do all things. That I am whole. I am complete. I said in my bio, I have been married, and it was a bit of well, before I was married, um, I think I understood more that I was complete in my singleness, and then there was an adjustment period afterwards to getting back to that place. So I've learned that I am resilient. We're all resilient. We can start over. We can do the things that we need to do um, without a partner, without other people. That we can be successful. We can set and accomplish goals. So just being resilient and just realizing that I am complete and whole.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. Come on, let's speak about completeness. Come through. Okay, okay. That's some very good key points that you brought out. You're still complete. Thank you. My next question is, so what does a fulfilling partnership look like to you now? And has that vision changed over time?
Yes, very much so. Yeah, when I was younger, yeah, yeah, the hmm
Wow.
sort of tongue tied right now, but I think that I am more. I'm looking for more substantive things, and not so much superficial. He doesn't have to be six whatever anymore. He doesn't have to look like whatever anymore. But just being more open and really looking for more. Core issues. I mean, I want a man that has a relationship with the Lord. I want a man that is emotionally mature. I want a man who is financially secure. I want a man that is not threatened by other people, that he's just complete and secure within himself, that
Mm.
he is willing to accept me for me and allow me to accept him for who he is. And just understanding that no one is perfect. And I think that when I was younger, I really was expecting perfection and really expecting a lot of just superficial things. But as I get older, I realize that nobody's perfect. Even those that try to appear to be perfect, sometimes they're less perfect, just their facade is better, but they really are hiding something. So just for me, really wanting someone who's genuine and is willing to show that genuineness.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Thank you for your honest answers. You
Sure.
know, our, just allowing yourself to be your authentic self and looking for a partner who's going to be as just as authentic as you will make all the difference. We
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
I think, I pray that, we come to the table in our authentic selves because there's been so long you can play the mask in life, but so long you can do it. But I don't know, maybe some people are really good at it for a lifetime. Who knows? Hope not.
So,
Thank you,
Angela,
Angela.
have you found that person yet?
No, I have not. I have not. There have been times in the past that I thought I had, but yeah, but I have not.
Mm.
I have not. But I'm still open, even though I've been through, heartache and disappointment. I'm still open and
Okay.
just really trying to be patient. Well, being patient about it, not trying, being patient about it, and just
Mhm.
really wanting someone in my life. And I know a lot of people that have sort of given up, and I refuse. I refuse to do that, regardless of what I've experienced in the past. I want to continue to be hopeful,
Yeah.
but I have not found. So yeah, if y'all know anybody, I believe you have not because you asked not.
That part. Listen,
Okay,
it's
I
gonna
have your
come.
information now, so I'll.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And a sense of humor helps. A sense of humor definitely helps.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think
Love it.
do you think things has changed since because you shared that you was married before dating then and now do you feel that things has changed for the worse
Oh
or
yes,
yeah, okay.
I'm taking a deep breath.
Mhm.
The game,
Okay.
well, as I like to say, the game has completely changed. The
Yes.
game has completely changed. I mean, the way it was
Mhm.
years ago, it's
Mhm.
not the same. People don't necessarily have the same, and maybe because I'm in a different geographical location. I used to live in Maryland, and maybe the people in Maryland are just different. But living in Atlanta,
Oh,
Mhm.
is just a different place. It's a different place, and
yeah.
being on the dating apps, and being just even walking around, things have changed. And I don't want to say that it's worse. It's different. And I think that for me, being older, just knowing how to navigate the
Mhm.
difference and just being wise about it, and setting boundaries, and just really being honest about what I'm looking for, because it's
Mhm.
easy to go out and have dinner, and ooh, we're having a great conversation, and be on two different islands as far as what you want out of a relationship partnership. So I think it's just really important to be honest and transparent about, for me, what I want and what I'm looking for, and not waste time. I don't mean that disrespectfully, but if I'm not if I'm not setting boundaries and sharing what I want, I feel like I'm wasting someone's time because we may not be looking for the same things.
Thank you.
Most definitely. Thank you, my love. Let it be known from the get-go. That's what we're saying. Let them know. Let them know. Thank you. Now, I am going to thank you for that, Angela. I'm going to introduce our next guest, who we're going to put on the hot seat. So our next guest is Minister Kathy Marble. She wears many hats. She is the founder of Sisters Broken to Heal, Incorporated, a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization dedicated to helping women heal, grow, and thrive after experiencing life's traumas. Kathy is also a minister, certified life coach, and author. Her new venue is Wedding Officiant and Premarital Coach with Path to Promise LLC. Kathy is married to her teenage sweetheart, Charles Marble. Through the joys and challenges of her marriage, she realizes that God is teaching her how to love on a deeper level. She has a passion for helping others build healthy and lasting relationships. So we bring to the stage Mr. Kathy and
Well,
Grace.
hello,
Take it
ladies.
away.
Hello, 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 hello.
Oh,
I am glad
yes.
to be here because you know I
Thank you
love
for
to
being.
talk. So Vera already love to talk. But, you know,
Oh
don't let
God.
me take up all y'all time.
We won't.
Because listen, you talking about a subject that I can talk about all day, ma'am. So
I believe
listen,
it.
cut me off. Say, okay, Kathy, cut off. Yeah.
Well, we embrace you, Minister Kathy. It's such an honor and a blessing to even be able to hear from you tonight for the wisdom. We just number one, we appreciate all of you. But you've been married over 20 something years, and this is such a blessing. And just to hear that you met your husband as a teenager, I'm gonna ask you the first question: how did you know, even at that time, that your husband was your husband? What stood out?
Listen, ma'am, I was 16 when I met my husband, and I did not know that he was the one. You know, we was young and dumb. All we knew was that we was in love. That's all we knew. I love you, you love me. You know how the kids, when you was in elementary school, you sent notes to one another, say,
Yeah.
sign yes or no, and you check
No.
the little box and send it back. That's what we were like. We were like that little check off a little box and send it back
Right.
to each other. So we didn't
Right.
know anything about being a couple, partnership, marriage. We had to learn as we went. You know, to say that I knew that he was my forever love, no, I did not know that, and neither did he. We just knew that there was love there, and we thought that that was enough.
Mhm.
But we come to find out that is not enough. God's love is enough always and forever. But our love, this earthly thing we have, is not enough. So you need more. So when I say my husband and I have met it at 16, don't mean that we stayed together all that time. You know, I would like to say that that old song, "Make Up the Breakup," that's all we do.
Mhm.
That was all we were doing. You know, first you love me, then you hate me. That's in the song. So that's what we were actually doing in our relationship. And we had to grow up. And so to say that he was the one right off the rip, but there were some things that I liked about him. Immediately, I saw his heart immediately. I saw that he was kind.
Mhm.
I saw that he cared about me. I saw that he was a person that kept his word. And for me, that was big. Even as a young girl, that was big for me. So there were things that I saw that I liked, but to say the one, I think we didn't find that out until maybe last year. No, I'm kidding. Maybe it was last year. I don't know. But no,
That's encouraging.
we had to find that out as we went, and that's the
Yeah.
answer to that.
Mhm. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, and that's good to know. It's evolving. Even just to share that there's a sense of hope even more. Okay, on a deeper level, even more. What is any advice that you have for a long-lasting marriage, even as you have done all these years?
I think for my perspective is understanding that marriage is a covenant, and understanding that marriage is not merely a contract. A covenant goes so much deeper than your contract. So I think it is understanding that when you enter into a covenant, that covenant is so binding that it takes both of you to even make that covenant work, because a covenant is one person with another person. And we are both committed. And that's what the vows are basically called. You are speaking to one another covenant. I take you and I take you. And so once you enter into that covenant should not be taken lightly. It should be taken seriously. I advise any couple to take your vows. Once you have vowed, put them on your wall, put them around your house to remind each other of what we have promised. That's something my husband and I did not do. But one of the things, sometimes we learn by experience, and sometimes what we did do and what we did not do, that's how we learn. And so that would be one of the biggest things. And give each other grace. Give each other grace in that married relationship, knowing that you're not perfect either. I used to think, for me, I was the perfect one. It was him. And sometimes it was him. But understanding that, he might have played 90%, you might have 10. You still are accountable for your 10. So it's understanding that marriage is so serious that I don't advise anybody to enter into it lightly. Because, even if you are a couple and you have lived together, statistics, it says if you live together, most couples who have lived together got married, divorced with their kids. Why? They live together. They have done it together. Why? Because they entered into something deeper that their relationship could not sustain. So that's why I say to anyone who's getting married and entering into that real covenant, because people ask me all the time, and I think some of you might know my testimony because I've told it over and over. Girl, how did you do it? I had to understand that I was in a covenant. I had to also understand that I wanted to receive grace. So I had to give it. So, and I also had to understand that a prayer that I prayed when I was a young girl, because me and my husband was both in church when we met. We didn't meet in the world. We were both church kids. And I used to pray, God, I want a marriage that is going to show how you love the church. I'm quoting scripture young, how you love the church, and I want a marriage just like that. I didn't know what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. But God had to show me, when I say love deeper, you have to love when love is not even sometimes not extended. You have to give of yourself even when it's not being given to you. That's that deeper thing that I talk about. It's easy to love when somebody's loving you back. But when it's not being extended, I didn't say be a board, a walkover. That's not what I said. I said extend love all the time. It's easy to love somebody when they are loving you back. But when you are the one that's giving the love, you have to depend on God. Say, God, I'm loving like you told me to. So, okay, I told y'all I can talk, right? So
That's okay.
I'm going to be quiet. Next question.
That's okay. I know. Thank you so much. I mean, you ministered to us. So a lot of yes, we need to hear that, and even people that's looking at it live. What you're saying is people need to hear that. You know, the deeper love is love when it's even not been extended. So we appreciate you. We honor you, and we thank you for that. So
You just dropping some. You just dropped some gems on us. It's okay. We ain't gonna.
Exactly.
Threw that out there.
Listen.
Well, yeah, thank you, Kathy, for that wonderful discussion. Thank you so much. Now, if you guys would let me welcome Dr. Thornton, who's here with us, Valez Thornton. She is the Assistant Director of Financial Aid at Belmont University, where she specializes in managing and administering institutional scholarships. With over 20 years of experience in higher education administration, Dr. Thornton has served on a host of university committees and held leadership positions on University Staff Advisory Council. She earned her bachelor's from Middle Tennessee State University and her master's from Belmont University and her doctorate from Lipscomb University, and intends to use the knowledge she has gained through furthering her education to advocate for equity in education. With that in mind, Dr. Thornton is currently working on designing a seminar and tutorial series to help students and parents with completing FAFSA, which we all need that. Oh my God. When you finish that series, please let me know, because I have not yet been able to get financial aid for my child. I still got to pay out of pocket. And I'm a single parent, so I don't understand.
I don't think that anybody does.
But thank you, Valez, for taking out the time this evening to join us on this panel. So my first question for you, because I know you have been in a long-term relationship for a little over 10 years. And so my first question for you is, many people assume that a committed couple should eventually live together. What led you and your partner to choose separate households? And how has that decision impacted your relationship over the years?
Great. Thank you for that question. Thank you for having me tonight. I hope you all can hear me. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I think that being established already before you get into a relationship can lead you down different paths, or can lead to different approaches in your relationship. And that's basically how me and my boyfriend how we ended up together. Like, we knew each other from a long time ago, and then I don't want to say spent the block, because we didn't date in the past, but it was like years later we ended up talking to one another, dating one another, and he was in a place of transitioning, like looking for a house, trying to purchase a house, and I already had purchased a house. And so I think we were both in those spaces of already being established, already having our properties, and it just, you're comfortable. So, you're comfortable in your own space, and it can be difficult to try to share that space with someone when you've been in your own space for so long.
Right.
So I think that for us, it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, you have your space, I have mine. Kind of like if you're in the same household with someone, and either he has his man cave or you have your she shed, whatever the case is, you go to different wings of the house, and then you can come back together. So we don't live that far from each other. We only live probably like 7-8 minutes from one another.
Okay.
But I think that we both, I won't say think, I know that we both enjoy having our own space and being able to just decompress and recharge the way that we like to recharge when that time comes.
Okay. So this isn't my second question, but how does your family and friends react to that, especially those that maybe that are married, your friends?
I think because since we're not married, they don't really, I don't know. It could be my generation that,
Okay.
they just kind of don't. It's just like, okay, hey, whatever works for you works for you.
Okay.
And that's really like my stance, is that you have to do what works for you in your household.
Mhm.
There's actually a lot, and I think it's kind of ironic and funny that there's a lot of talk now about just a lot of married women who have separate houses from their spouses.
You hear that, Grace?
Cheryl Lee Ralph, she was one of those ones that talks about, how she has her house, her husband has his house. She was like, and it just feels good to sometimes be like, hey, can I come over there and chill with you and watch TV? She said, and then I can go home. She said, or, we might stay the night together. For some people, that doesn't work. Like, I have some friends that are married and live in the same house, and they get mad if their husband goes and sleeps in another room. But their husband or wife is like, you snore too loud, so therefore I want to sleep someplace else. So it's not any animosity. It's just, hey, I want to get some sleep. You a little loud.
Okay.
So yeah, there's really not much comment about it.
All right. Well, my second question is, looking back on your journey, what have you learned about love, commitment, and partnership from being in a long-term relationship while maintaining your own independent space?
I think that, kind of going back to what I just said, the biggest thing that I've learned is you have to do what works for you. Society will make you think or make you believe that you have to do things in a certain order, you have to do things in a certain way. But you do have to have that conversation with your partner. You have to eliminate or try to eliminate the baggage that you're bringing into a relationship and the baggage that they're bringing into a relationship, and like talk about those things, because you have to be upfront, have to be honest. I think that Angela was saying earlier, you want somebody that is, honest with you, and somebody that's real and somebody that's authentic. And so coming into that space and being able to be authentic with one another helps you to know, like, okay, my friends might be doing this over here, or my parents might have done it this way. But, looking back on my experiences and knowing what works best for me, and then bringing that forward in the relationship, and then also following your values, following, your faith and everything else that ties into it. And just making sure that, like, okay, this is what I stand on, this is what I believe. And then if that person matches that same energy or has those same values, then it ends up working. So I think just really staying true to yourself and allowing that person to stay true to themselves. And then just working through and speaking about, things that, like you said, how I was saying, just being authentic. Really.
That's good stuff. Good stuff to pass along. But the reason why I called out Grace, because we were just talking about couples that are married but live in separate households. She was like, that's the new thing now. So
Yeah, I heard that about Cheryl Iraq too. She was on I guess it was an interview on one of the talk shows, and then I heard it on another podcast, and I was like, wow, this is definitely a trend. It's definitely something that's coming about now. So would you say that you
changing?
Oh, go ahead.
I said times is a changing. That's all I can say.
It is.
Times is a changing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you say that you value more like the friendship and companionship, what do you value that more? Does that help with now? Like, does it help the friendship even more by living in different places?
I don't know. I don't know if I would necessarily say it probably does, because if we had to be in the same space and, because every relationship has its pain points, tensions. There will probably be more things that get on my nerves that he does, or gets on his nerves that I do, if we were in the same space all the time. So yes, it would probably go back to that, like, hey, when you're in a marriage, a lot of times you're living together, so you're in that space together, and you have to try to figure out, okay, like, what works best. We don't have to figure that out in this space. Now, yeah, he might come over here and say, like, well, why do you have that there? Or why don't you do this? Or why don't you change this around, and yada, yada, yada. And it's just like, sometimes I listen, and sometimes I'm like, because this is my house. Like, I don't go over there and ask you, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? So yeah, it's just kind of interesting, because I think about the ways that, like, I clean up, and, I've had exes before that I have somewhat lived with. Like, we might stay together, like, maybe for like a month or 2 months or whatever, if they're like in transitioning, trying to, get another place. And I just never forget, I had this one guy, like, he would vacuum and then dust. And I was like, why? That defeats the purpose, because now you're putting the dust back on the floor, and so you need to go back and vacuum. So I think that, there's just like little nuances there that probably would cause us to be like, okay, you know what, maybe we need to take a break. And it's not even necessarily the relationship part of the thing, it's the other things that's feeding into it that,
I think the one thing that I think all of us have in common, whether you're single, long term, or you're married, is that we showing up to whatever the relationship is as your authentic self. And I think that's like the bottom common denominator for all of those things. And I just wanted to just emphasize, your authenticity, because in the day and age of social media, people have a tendency to believe what they see, but you don't necessarily know what it took for them to get to that level, or if that is totally real. We all know about people are going to portray a certain way to the public, but you don't know what's really in the back, behind the scenes, right? So if we're going to be our authentic self, be true to yourself first before you can even be true to anyone else. Because as I said earlier, and I think it's kind of hard to keep the mask on forever. I believe so. Maybe some people are really good at doing it for all their lives and they don't know who they are anyway. So because they've been playing the mask forever. So I just wanted to really emphasize about your authentic self, and whoever that person is that's with you, they, as I talked about earlier, they're going to take you for who you are. But know who you are first. To thine own self be true. That's it. There we go. To thine own self be true. We have a couple of questions from the audience, so I'm gonna say. And the question is, are you afraid of commitment? I'm not sure if you're directing it to just one person or
I would. Well, I was just gonna say, I would. Yes,
whoever want to hit it.
yeah, whoever, who they're addressing it to. But I think that we also have to define what you would consider commitment. So maybe asking that question in a different way? Or because if someone's not married, is that what you mean by are you afraid of commitment? Or, if you're single and not in a relationship, is that what you mean by commitment? So I think just knowing what that person means.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you can elaborate on that one for us, sure thing.
I can answer as a single person.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of commitment. That's not the reason why I'm not in a relationship. For me, I'm not in a relationship because I haven't found the right fit for me. It's not a fear of commitment. It's just needing the right person. So I can answer that from my perspective.
Okay.
And I'll say, I was just going to say, I'll say for me, it is commitment. Like just because you're married doesn't mean that person is going to be committed to you. So to me, it's not about of course, you are taking your vows and you are doing this in front of, other individuals and witnesses. But it's also one of those things where if that person wants to step out, that person is going to do what they want to do. But if wholeheartedly they want to be committed to you and your relationship, then that's going to happen regardless. So for me, no, I'm not afraid of commitment because I've been in this relationship for so long. And I think it's the same way with him, is that no, there's not a level of commitment that we're afraid of because we're committed to one another in what it is that we're doing.
Okay. Yes, they were asking you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
It's not something that we've ever strayed away from. Eventually we might just be like, okay, hey, let's do it. But I think that, to Minister Kathy's point is that that's something that you do not want to enter into lightly. So if I know that I'm comfortable in my space and now we try to come together and join household and then we start having tension, then okay, we're going to have to revisit counseling. We're going to have to revisit, some of these things. And yes, that level, it does change. And that's one of the questions that I was going to ask. I don't really know. And maybe it's because I've never been married before. I don't know what the difference is in being in a committed relationship with someone for a very long time and then being in a marriage, because as you're stating, a lot of people can be together for years and then they get married and 2 years later they get divorced. And so I'm curious to know, why is that? What happens in that space that causes that?
Well,
that's interesting. Yes. I was going to ask. I was going to direct it to Minister Kathy because I'm seeing that a lot.
Yeah, because in that time and in that space, there is. She has a point to the fact that there is a level of commitment when you have spent your time with somebody and you guys are exclusive. Is that what you're talking about, correct? Mm-hmm. And you are exclusive. Yeah, there is a level of commitment, but when you enter into covenant, that level changes. That commitment that you have towards one another will change, and and not only is there an exchange of paper, but there is an exchange of life. If I'm making sense to you, you are now committed to exchange your life. I asked a couple not too long ago, would you trust that person with your life? Mm-hmm. I mean, the totality of your life. If you got sick today, would you even trust that person to take care of you? In the old wedding tradition, to death do you part. Mm-hmm. Would you even trust that person to do that? So when you do enter into that covenant, beyond just that commitment, it do change some things. Not only do it change some things naturally or physically, it also changed some things spiritually, because we already know that the first marriage happened in the garden, and God was the one who was the wedding officiant. So, so it does change a few things. I'm not saying anything is wrong with the long-term commitment. I applaud you guys for being committed just that long to one another. But yeah, there is a change. It absolutely is. You can date somebody forever and be with that person forever. But when you enter into that space and close that door, and now y'all are in each other's face, and you are sharing more time with each other, you're beginning to learn each other on a whole different level. You can know, I have known my husband since I was 16, and I still today is discovering him in a different way, and vice versa, because it is constantly evolving. So I hope I answered your question on the different, between that committed and that covenant. I'm just so big on how sacred marriage is, and that covenant.
Yeah.
It's so sacred. When I say don't enter into it lightly or half-heartedly, I'm not telling you from what I've studied in Bible college, or all the material that we have written on marriage and all that. I'm not telling you that from that. I'm telling you that from life perspective, from the thing that I live. So yeah, marriage is too sacred for you to just walk in there with a piece of paper.
Right.
You got to know that his heart is with you, and your heart is with him. And the two hearts, we're together, and we're gonna build. That's why you shouldn't get married just because of I love you. What are we doing together? What are we making happen together? How are we moving? Are we gonna be a power couple? We're gonna be a spiritual couple. What we gonna be? Besides baby makers, what are we gonna be? So yeah, I hope I answered that.
You did.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
Kathy.
You did. You did. I
Right.
got another question here, and I guess this is for Dr. Velez. I'm just curious. Do you allow each other to have friends of the opposite sex over at any time living separately?
So I think at this age, majority of our friends are one or two married, or we have mutual friends. Like we're friends with one another. Like your friend group ends up becoming like the couples that you hang out with, the married couples, or you have friends that you've been friends with forever. Like his best friend is a female, is a woman. So I know her, she knows me. If she's over there, I might be on the phone with him, or vice versa. Like, we can all hang out together. So I don't have guy friends over, just, like all willy nilly. I don't really have too many guy friends that are single at this point in my life. So to answer that question, if I'm going to be black or white, I would say it's not allowing, but as far as I know of, we don't. Like if we are going to hang out with the opposite sex, it's usually with someone that we know, or we'll have that, conversation before.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you for the answer. So, y'all introduced a whole bunch of stuff right now. So,
Yeah, you open up some things too. So
y'all opened up eyes and I pray that people have heard what
yeah,
has been said. Because we are all um talk about authenticity. I think coming with our authentic selves in this space right here. I definitely want everyone to know that we value this space that we have put together as the three of us, a safe space for us to have a discussion and talk. And it's what we do. We talk amongst each other, and six beautiful women having a discussion about various types of relationships is a blessing, and it's a beautiful thing. And no matter what spectrum you are in, we and I want to speak for the three of us, we definitely appreciate all three of you women for speaking your heart if you didn't have to. And we appreciate you even doing it. So thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say thank you.
I will
Um,
say, I was just going to touch on one thing, like with Minister Kathy, when she said, when you're living in that space, and this kind of probably goes back to how we were talking about, there's a lot more married couples that are deciding to live separately. When you're living in that space, you start to get to know a person on a deeper level, on a different level. And maybe that is what keeps marriage is new and fresh, is that okay, you can go to your house, I can go to my house, and then we can come back together. I don't know. Because like we were just saying, like that's kind of the new trend. Like people
Right.
just, and it's not just even with, I think about my age bracket. When I heard that from Shirley Raff, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, you don't hear that too often
Right.
from some more of like your seasoned individuals, but my grandmother probably would have said the same thing. I think there was a question posed.
Yes.
I think there was a question posed not too long ago on some blog that was asking the question about, like, why did your grandparents or something? I think like, how did their relationship last so long? They had probably been married for 50, 60 years. And the response was because we sleep in separate bedrooms. And then people started asking, like, how did that work? But it was just amazing that you had like 70 and 80-year-olds saying, like, hey, we had to sleep in separate bedrooms. And that's how we lasted so long. So I don't know. I think that sometimes, we just understand that you're still an individual in yourself. And so even though you're coming together with someone, you still have your independence and your individuality. And sometimes you might like you might feel a little closeted if that's the right way to put it. But when you can feel like, okay, I can be free, you can release. And then, you might have to come back and be a little bit more poised when you're, with your significant other. I don't know.
Love it.
Having a discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right. Grace, you have any final thoughts to wrap us up tonight?
I'm just really intrigued. I can tell you, I'm just sitting back and drinking the tea and drinking the coffee and taking it all in as food. But I just want to I appreciate all of you. I thank you for even sharing everything that your experiences, the wisdom. Thank you, Minister Kathy. Thank you, Minister Angela. Thank you, Dr. Valez. We really appreciate you because, it doesn't matter whether we're single, dating, married, a long-term relationship, staying true to ourselves. And it says a lot. And so that's really good. I'm really good and happy that you guys really was here to experience that with us, that sharing that with us. So thank you so much. Such a blessing. Thank you so much for sharing.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you again. And I'm sure, we'd love for you to subscribe, of course, to our channel, Starting Over Sisters, where we talk about anything that's related to starting over. It could be a marriage, a relationship. It could be starting over in a career. So we'd love for you to continue to log on and listen with us. And you never know, we might have another topic that we might have to pull you in again for some good advice.
Yes, I think we're going to probably y'all going to probably be on here again because I'm pretty sure a lot of questions, even more.
Yes. All right. Well, until next time, thank you again, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you for having
us. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Good night, family.